Good afternoon, Vortex owners. Mark here. I'm about to make a quick video showing you the pump assembly and impeller removal instructions on the Chaparral Vortex. This is going to work on all models from the 203 up to the 24 footer. It's about a 30-minute procedure from start to finish, and for those of you that maybe are not mechanically inclined whatsoever, on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being the toughest, this is probably about a 3. So it's very simple, very straightforward, and it can be done with just a few tools that you probably have laying around your garage already. So let's go ahead and look at the tools that we have here. I have a ratcheting wrench with a 6-inch extension and an 11/16 inch deep socket. You're going to need that to actually remove the impeller housing here. I have a pair of pliers, and those are just used for leverage to turn the Allen key. It can be hard on the two bottom Allen bolts that you have on there. I do have a pair of needle nose pliers here. Those are just used to grab the cotter pin that holds the control arm for the reverse bucket. I have another ratcheting wrench, just a short one with an 11mm end on it, as well as two box wrenches, an 11mm and a 10mm. One Allen wrench, which is a 6mm. So these are the basic tools that you need to do the job. So I've got my reverse bucket in the reverse position, so it's fully down right now, allowing easier access to a couple of the key things that I need to remove. So the first thing that we're going to start with here, so this is the arm that controls the reverse bucket, and we need to take the 10mm wrench and remove this nut. Now that that nut's been removed, I'm just simply going to pop this off. The reverse bucket's going to fall down just a hair, and I'm going to go ahead and replace the washer and the nut on here. Screw it right back in there so I don't lose it. It's always a good idea to have a little bowl handy. I got a magnetic bowl here to hold all my bolts and screws. Now the next thing I'm going to do, if you go ahead and follow this control arm back, you're going to see a black, it looks like a black rubber, I don't even know what you called it. It holds this control arm in here, and there's a cotter pin that needs to be removed. So I'm going to go ahead and take my needle nose pliers, and I'm going to go ahead and remove that cotter pin, and that whole arm is going to pop right out of its slot. Alright, now that I have the cotter pin removed, I can reach back here. I'm going to slide this little black plastic cap off. I'm going to put it in my bucket full of goodies. And I may not be able to do it just yet. The pump's not quite ready to be removed, but this will just, see if I can grab it here on the video. It just kind of lifts right up out of its little slot here. Not ready to come out yet. We have one more step to go through before we can remove that and remove the pump and nozzle. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the steering control arm right here from the nozzle using an 11mm box wrench. Let's see here if I can get to this. The 11mm box wrench on the bottom nut right here, and then I'm going to use my 11mm socket to remove this bolt right here. Alright, so as simple as that. I've got the 11mm wrench down holding the bolt on the bottom. I've got my 11mm socket on top. I've only got two hands, so I can't show you while I'm doing this, so we're going to go ahead and cut the video off real quick, and I'm going to remove it. Now that that nut's off, I'm going to go ahead and simply unscrew this the rest of the way, and kind of got to finagle it out of there. There we go, and the nozzle's now free to move. I'm going to go ahead and put that screw, let's see where we went here. I'm going to go ahead and put the screw back up through here and put the bolt back on, just simply so I don't misplace it anywhere. Now that we have the reverse bucket, or the bucket and the nozzle unbolted and free, you'll see we have four bolts that need Allen keys, 2 on the top. And then also you should be able to see the 2 on the bottom right here, the left and the right. Go ahead and take those off, and the pump, the bucket and the nozzle will be ready to come off. Okay, I've now got the top 2 loose. This is where I'm going to need to stick the Allen key the long way. It's kind of hard to turn it with this little bit right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take my pliers gonna grab this like so. Just use it for leverage. There it goes. Starting to turn. And give it a couple more turns, and then it will come out hand untightening the rest of the way. Same thing is going to go for this side right here. All right, I've got the 4 Allen bolts fully loosened. Now I can take this control arm here, and I'm going to lift it right up out of its slot. There it goes. I'm going to try and do this with one hand here. And then as soon as that's done, well, let's see, this is kind of hard to do with one hand, but as soon as this arm is lifted up out of its little slot, this whole assembly will just pull right out. And this is what it looks like on the ground. And the nozzle just slides right off the dry bucket right there. All right, now that I have the bucket and steering nozzle off, this is pretty simple. This is probably the quickest part of the whole procedure. We have 4 bolts here. 1, 2, 3, and 4th one right back there. This is where you need your extension. I have a 6-inch extension with an 11/16 deep socket to get all the way over those bolts. The only thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off the 4 bolts, and this entire assembly is going to pop out right with the impeller off of the drive shaft. There is a rubber gasket back here, so you're going to go ahead and you're going to pull on it, and it's going to feel like it's stuck against something. It's not. You just got to give it a little bit of elbow grease. It's just a rubber gasket. It's going to pop right out. All right, now that I got the 4 bolts off here, let's see if I can get a good angle of this. You can see that I'm kind of pulling on this a little bit, and it feels like it's stuck on something. It's not. It's actually just the rubber gasket in there, so I'm gonna have to put the phone down to actually remove this because I need both hands to do it. Be really careful, because right behind here, these are really sharp, and I actually sliced my finger open on the first time I did this. So let me put the phone down real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull this straight off. You just kind of have to work it out. Like I said, it's a rubber gasket in there, so don't just rip it out, but smoothly wiggle it around side to side, and eventually it will just pop out. All right, now that this whole thing is loose, I felt it pop loose from the gasket, so I'm just going to slide this whole assembly right out, and bam, there you go. There's your drive shaft. There's the grates. Let me go ahead and set this on the ground here. That's it. Now you have access. I got access to your impeller. Spin freely. You can go ahead and remove any obstructions that might be in there. Go ahead and, if you did have something big in there, make sure that your wear ring's not damaged. It's okay. So I've had 2 things stuck in here. The wear ring, it's got a tiny little groove in it, but definitely is not affecting its performance, so I'm not too worried about that right now. Again, here's what the inside of it looks like, and that's it. The reinstallation is super easy, exact same thing. You're going to go ahead and put your impeller and the cone back on. You're going to put the 4 bolts back on. The next thing that you're going to do is go ahead and you're going to mount the nozzle into the bucket using these 4 screws, and then those, let me flip this around here, and those bolt on. You can see the 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and 4 bolt right back up on there. When you're done, you're going to put this this brass fitting back in its receptacle. It goes right there. The rubber cap is going to go back on it like so. Cotter pin goes in, and then the only thing left you have to do is take the bolt for the reverse bucket, take it off, put the screw back on through here, thread the bolt back on, and do the same thing for this side. Of course, you want to make sure that everything's nice and tight. The manual did not specify any torques or tightnesses, but when I did it myself and took it off for the first time, it didn't seem to be overly tight, so just use good discretion. You don't want this to be as tight as you can, or it might bind. It might not, come back and forth as smoothly as you'd like it. Same thing with this. They do have the little rubber, so it's for the lock nut on there. And that's about it. Like I said, again, it's very simple. Even with filming this entire thing, the process took me probably about 15 minutes, and it'll take me about 15 minutes to put it back together. That's it. Appreciate your guys' help. Have a great day.